Yeah, I'm not planning on going anywhere. So,
He looked at the offer, smiled, and said no. Now the door is gone. The league he chose is bleeding money, and the man who controls his only path back just told the world, calmly and without a single regret, that no one is coming to rescue him. This is the story of how a $300 million decision became a $300 million trap, and why the most talented golfer of his generation may spend the best years of his career waiting on lawyers instead of playing on Sunday. Go back to the start of 2026. The PGA Tour placed a rare and time-limited offer on the table, the returning member program. 4 names qualified: Brooks Koepka, Cameron Smith, Bryson DeChambeau, Jon Rahm. The conditions were stiff: financial penalties, proof of major championship pedigree, a strict deadline, but the path was real. The reinstatement was immediate, and the tour meant it. Koepka took it. He paid the price, served no suspension, and walked straight into a 2026 PGA Tour field like he had never been gone. Rahm said no. 3 words: not going anywhere.
yeah, I'm not planning on going anywhere. So,
February 1st, 2026. The program closed, the window sealed. Then came the statement that changed everything. Brian Rowlap, the PGA Tour's new CEO, sat in front of media and delivered the verdict that Rahm needed to hear most and probably feared the most. The returning member program was a specific program for a specific time, and it is gone. The tour respects that LIV players are under contract. It is business as usual. When things settle, the tour will respond to whatever circumstances exist. Read that again carefully. No urgency, no sympathy, no open door. Rowlap did not need to raise his voice. He did not need to point a finger. He simply described reality. And in that calm description, he outlined exactly the corner Jon Rahm is now painted into. To fully understand the weight of where Rahm stands today, you have to understand what he actually is as a golfer. Born in the Basque Country of Spain, Arizona State. An immediate, almost violent rise through world golf. World number 1. U.S. Open champion at Torrey Pines in 2021. One of the finest ball-striking performances in major championship history. Masters champion in 2023. This is not a journeyman chasing a payday. This is a generational player who won 2 majors before the age of 29 and showed every sign of adding more. When Rahm signed with LIV in October 2023, it was the single most seismic defection the tour had ever faced. The framework negotiations between the tour and the Saudi Public Investment Fund had given every player a reason to wait. Rahm did not wait. He signed a reported deal worth over $300 million, joined Legion 13, and dared the golf world to judge him. For a while, many admired the boldness. Before we go any further, quick question. If you think Rahm made a rational business decision and would do it again, type smart move in the comments. If you think he read the situation wrong and will regret it for the rest of his career, type bad read. I read every single one. Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund announced it will stop funding LIV Golf at the end of 2026. The league Rahm chose, the one he staked his prime years on, is now fighting for its survival. Smith and DeChambeau said no to the returning program too, but DeChambeau's contract ends in 2026. He has a timeline, a visible exit. Rahm's contract reportedly extends beyond 2026. That is not a detail. That is the entire situation. And even if LIV collapses tomorrow, Rahm cannot simply reapply to the PGA Tour like nothing happened. The standard reinstatement rules require a 1-year waiting period from his last LIV event. That clock does not start until the contractual obligations are resolved. The returning member program, which would have accelerated everything, no longer exists. So the pathway back is longer now, and it grows longer with every month that passes unresolved. Then there is the Ryder Cup. The 2027 event is at Adair Manor, Ireland, European soil. The kind of stage Rahm was born to inhabit. He was the heartbeat of that European team in 2023, playing with a ferocity that made him the most compelling figure on the course. His LIV status makes him ineligible for selection unless he returns to tour-eligible status well before the event. That window is already narrow. It is getting narrower. And underneath all of it runs the math that cannot be argued with. Jon Rahm turns 31 this year. Elite golfers peak between 28 and 35. If contractual and legal complications keep him outside the highest level of weekly competition for 2 full seasons, he arrives back at 32 or 33. Still talented, still a genuine major threat, but without the competitive rhythm, the ranking infrastructure, and the momentum that defines the seasons that define careers. You cannot buy those years back. Jon Rahm told the entire world he was not going anywhere. He said it with confidence. He said it with a smile. The devastating irony is this. He was right. He is not going anywhere. Not back to the PGA Tour, not to the Ryder Cup in Ireland, not into the ranking system that earns you the major invitations he used to take for granted. The contract that made him say yes to LIV is now the very thing preventing him from saying goodbye to it. He is not going anywhere, not because he is loyal, because he may have no legal path to leave. To be clear, this is not a eulogy for Jon Rahm's career. He is 30 years old, and talent at his level does not simply evaporate. Major champions have returned from longer absences. The game has a long memory for greatness, and Rahm's greatness is not in dispute. There is a version of this story where everything aligns. The contract dissolves, the lawyers find a path, the tour processes the reinstatement, and Rahm walks onto a first tee at Augusta or Shinnecock in 2028 and reminds the world exactly what he is. That version is still possible. The question is whether everything that has to happen, in the right sequence, within the right time frame, can still happen before the window of his absolute prime closes for good. If this is untangling the situation for you, drop a like before you scroll. It tells the algorithm to put this in front of the golf fans who are trying to follow the story. The tour's posture deserves one more look, because it is the detail that matters most and the one most people have underestimated. Rolap did not threaten Rahm. He did not mock the decision. He did not express satisfaction. He simply described the facts. The program is gone, the tour will handle its business, and when things settle, it will react to whatever circumstances exist. That language is not cold for the sake of being cold. It is a precise and deliberate statement of leverage. The tour knows that Rahm wants back. The tour knows the conditions will eventually force the conversation. And the tour has chosen to let those conditions do the work, without offering a single centimeter of goodwill in advance. There is no negotiation being hinted at. There is no informal back channel being signaled. There is just the door that used to exist, the date it closed, and the organization that will be waiting entirely on its own terms whenever the dust finally settles. Jon Rahm is playing LIV events. He is still one of the most gifted players on the planet. He won in Andalusia. He shows flashes of the brilliance that won him Augusta and Torrey Pines. But the U.S. Open at Shinnecock Hills this week, a tournament he won as a champion, a course built for the kind of precision he plays, exists in a world he is not currently part of. He is technically in the field as a past champion. He is watching his future remain entirely unresolved. The door he walked past in January is gone. The league he chose is losing its financial foundation. And the most powerful organization in professional golf is sitting comfortably, watching from a distance, in absolutely no rush to help. Jon Rahm said he was not going anywhere. Right now, for reasons that have everything to do with his own choices and almost nothing to do with his talent, that appears to be exactly, painfully true. If this laid out the situation clearly, hit the like button before you move on. It genuinely helps this reach other golf fans trying to make sense of what is happening. And subscribe, because every week there is a new development in this story, and we are covering every single one of them.